Hey Dasz, at Dasz Instruments. We saw you, I think, Music Messe last year, didn't we? And you were just starting to get things going. What's happening now?
Well, since the Music Messe, we've taken a number of steps to get the product to completion. We developed a distributed hardware and software technology which we were not able to demonstrate at the trade show. Now that's all fully functioning. We spent a bit of time implementing it. What we are now showing you is the system in its functional state. We're getting close to being to starting production with it, and I can now step you through all the features of the system right now.
Before you do, can you just give me a kind of like a paragraph of what is Dasz? What is the...
Now Dasz is a integrated, multi-track music production system that's scalable, or as you called it, expandable. It's an expandable groove box, it's an expandable multi-track. Now the way this works, as we mentioned back in Frankfurt, every track gives you every module gives you 4 instrument tracks, and the instrument tracks are stacked stereo tracks. Each one features an instrument which can either be internal or external. We have several external ones going into our system this time. It passes through a mixer that has 3-band sweepable EQs. Every track also includes 2 stereo effects. And on top of that, a looper, which can either be used in line with the track, or it could be sent directly to our main or auxiliary bus, effectively doubling the number of tracks in a system. So we are also demonstrating our user interface, how that's evolved. We could not show this back at the Music Messe. The navigation is very simple. You navigate using these buttons to select the part of the track you're looking at, and then at the very top here you select whether you want to see the entire instrument in the whole screen, and then you can navigate with tabs, which is
So these are instruments that are internally on DSP, or they can be external MIDI instruments.
That's right. That's right. Number 1 is internal. Number 2 is totally different. It's the mini tour we brought before. Number 3 is controlling the MOFO, and you can see over there.
So you can set these controls to be sort of macros to go out to MIDI.
That's right.
Just tell me a bit about the internal instruments. I mean, are they designed by you guys, or are they running from third party?
They're designed by our internal team. We've got anti-aliased VA oscillators, triangle, sine, saw, and square. And we have our own modeled stereo low pass, band pass, high pass filter.
It's like a modeled subtractive synthesizer.
That's right.
Okay, got you.
And we also have our own effects. Right now we have 4 effects: compressor, overdrive, bit crush, and stereo delay. These are all stereo effects.
So these all run on the internal DSP, so presumably as you upgrade the OS you can kind of just code more stuff to run on.
That's right. As you upgrade, like we still have the option to upgrade the DSP on each system, but right now we are actually running polyphonic tracks. If a track is not being used, is not using its internal DSP for sound generation, that polyphony can be applied to other tracks.
Okay.
And we of course, in our VA, you can also pick waveforms. So we have a whole bunch of waveforms you can select. These are stereo samples, so you have 2 stereo samples and they go through a stereo filter. So you can make very wide sounds, very rich sounds.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a little demo. There's 2 tracks going here. I'm going to show you the mixer. This is the MOFO.
So you're controlling the MOFO with...
And now I'm going to bring in the other one. And this is our internal one. And this, the MOFO is going through our entire system.
Right, so you've got audio inputs coming in.
Audio inputs, A to D, D to A. We selected very high grade components to make the sound very transparent, very punchy. What's really great about the system is every track can add a lot of sculpting to the sound, a lot of punch to the sound. And I can demonstrate that with the mixer, and the mixer here with the bass drum. So now this is a sample of bass drum.
And that sample is playing from internal.
Yeah. And I've got a overdrive, which I can sculpt. You can hear that, like you can make it really meaty. And with the effects, I can. Now I'm just going to give it more bass. So you can, that's just the bass drum, so it makes it a very beefy sound.
So it's like, it's almost like, I'm trying to kind of think of a paradigm for what this is. It's almost like a virtual studio with mixer and DSP and
exactly,
it runs
it's an integrated studio hub. You know, it reduces a lot of the additional devices you might have in your studio. There's a lot of small analog synthesizers or even modular gear that doesn't include a lot of the effects. People focus on the oscillators, they focus on the filters. We can add the processing, we can add the sculpting of your sources.
And how does it work in terms of, can you record audio to it? So you can
yes, we have a looper on every track, and it can either act as a looper recorder, like a pedal, a stereo loop pedal, or here we're demoing it as a sample player. So for what we're listening here.
And what sort of length of sample can you run on that? I mean, is it
any length? We have a gigabyte of RAM in each module. So that 1 gigabyte is dedicated to all the tracks in that one module. So you can load up samples, you can use it for loop memory and other user data.
So would it be possible, say for instance, to run like a couple of stems?
What's that?
Would it be possible to run, say, a couple of stems, like backing tracks?
Yes.
Plus have the 4 inputs live as well? Or do you have to have an input or an output as...
No, you can run inputs and the loops at the same time. So you're talking about external instruments?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So if you run external instruments, the loopers exist on the track, but they can be separated. It's the output of the looper can be separated from the track, effectively doubling the number of tracks in the system.
Right, I understand. So and what about recording like stuff like MIDI into it? I mean, do you just play with external keyboard and plug it in, or is it happening internally via some kind of sequencer?
It's got a sequencer. Now, we're very excited about the sequencer. What the sequencer does, you're going to have a sequencer assigned per module. So this is still an early build of the sequencer, and you can basically edit 8 steps at a time in each module.
So you can dial in steps sequence.
Now we're doing this for the benefit of users that buy just the main and nothing else. But what's really great about this sequencing is by having more than one module, you can divide the sequencer and have multiple groove boxes running simultaneously. So on the quad there, you could have 4 sequencers. Now, there's another benefit of expanding. If you turn split mode off, now these buttons do the first 8 steps, and these buttons do the other 8 steps.
They expand the interface.
So on a 16-track system like this one, the sequence interface gives you up to 32 steps of editing, but you can actually access 16 steps values such as velocity, note, duration. So it's a very rich experience, really taking the benefits of having multiple screens and these dynamically assignable controls to the max. And there's more layered user interfaces.
Are you thinking about maybe doing something with kind of MPC style pads as well?
What's that?
Are you thinking about doing maybe a module with MPC style pads as well? Because it seems like that might work.
You know what? We've thought about that. We're not going to be adding, like these are not velocity sensitive. They are used for navigation or setting up steps. In the future, these buttons could of course be used to trigger things.
Right, okay.
There are a lot of devices on the market already that do really great velocity detection and velocity triggering.
Yeah.
We still have on the back of the unit, we still have the USB host and USB device connector. So the options of external control over this system are quite open that way. Although for our initial release, we're focusing on getting all the internals finished, Down the road, we've got plans to integrate external devices and external machines.
So where are we on the roadmap, and when are you looking to release, and how much is it going to be?
Well, we've just released a lot of information on our website. So we're finishing the operating system right now, and our hardware is production hardware. We brought tooled hardware to this trade show. We're going to be taking pre-orders in the near future, and we have a reduced introductory price for the system. The main module, the starter module, is going to sell for $899. The expand module will be selling for $699, and the expansion A I/O card is going to sell for $129. Now this is limited for our first production run, after which we will be setting the final prices and announcing them then. If you subscribe to our website, in our newsletter, we will be sending pre-order instructions and announcement to the subscribers first. And that way they get an opportunity to place their orders.
So how do
early.
people, is that daz.com or dazinstruments.com?
It's daz.com. That's DASZ.com.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I could, let me jam out here for you for a second. So we're going to take a quad system and take it through its paces. I'm going to bring some more tracks in and add some loops. Now this is a vertical mixer. Like I was showing you the mixer, I can now alter all what the other tracks are doing. So this is now a cutoff mixer. Track 3s. More tracks. And again. Woo! We had some people playing with this earlier. I'm going to put more loops in. So this is a duo. Now, we could keep stacking, but I think we're going to mix it up. Track. Go back and look at the cutoff and put some loops back. And I'll take it back to the first track.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nick. Enjoy the show and take care.